you've seen the Eagles a few times this year. Who's catching your eye in the first 20 for the Eagles?
My first look at LaFerriere this year, I thought he had some good momentum to his game, and nice to see him back in the lineup. You never like to see a guy miss a whole chunk of time like he has this season with that issue that he had on opening night. But I thought he and Boudreau showed a lot of chemistry. You had mentioned to me before the game that they're billet brothers as well, and it seemed like they brought some of that chemistry to the ice as well. And I thought Jarrett Baker was pretty strong on the back end. The Eagles really miss Adam McCormick back there, and you need somebody to step up. I thought Baker had a pretty strong period too.
Now, obviously, an eventful 24 hours with Monk just physically getting across the causeway. Both midget games that were supposed to happen in Cape Breton were canceled. We know about what happened with the Bantam team. Walk us through what happened with Moncton yesterday and their travels. I hear it was a bit of a longer trip than usual.
Yeah, it was a bit of an adventure for sure. When the team left Moncton at 1 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday, and at the time, there was no snow, nothing like that. It was fairly clear, and the team knew that it was going to be having some potential issues once it started to make its way towards Sydney, but I don't know if we were expecting necessarily what we got. By the time we got around the Cobequid Pass, it was definitely snowing, and you could see that the weather conditions were deteriorating for sure. The Wildcats stopped for a meal break in Antigonish and continued on from there, but then we got word, I'm going to say about 20 minutes or so before we got to the Canso Causeway, that it was shut down because of the high winds and the water coming over the edge and things like that. And we pulled in and just stopped and kind of waited it out at a gas station, and we stayed there for probably close to 2.5 hours. It ended up being a later night than what we would normally have on a trip to Sydney. The team bus got into Sydney, I'm going to say it was between 10 and 10:30, and on a normal day it would only be about a 5 or 5.5 hour trip, but it ended up being just a little over 10.
Wow.
When you factor in getting to the hotel and getting to the rooms and things like that. But the roads were not good. Full credit to Bernie Hache, our bus driver, who kept us between the lines, and Mr. Irving purchased a brand new bus this year that got its first real good workout in some funky weather yesterday. So the Wildcats are fortunate, and it would have been very easy for the team to turn around and go back to Antigonish, potentially stay there. They wanted to get here if they could last night, and so we waited it out just outside the causeway there and got fortunate to make it here.
As you said, bus drivers, maybe the unsung heroes in the CHL. Now, the elephant in the room, I guess, is what's going on with John Torchetti. I don't know what you can say. You may not even know what's going on with that situation. He's not here. And between that and what we just talked about, the long day on the bus, looked to me when Cats doing their pregame soccer, it looked fine, but is this group maybe a bit rattled? I don't even know if the players even know what's going on. How do you think that's affecting them right now?
Judging by the first 13, 14 minutes, it looked like a team that may have had thoughts elsewhere at the moment. But again, a good recovery toward the end of the period. We'll see whether that carries over into period 2 or not. But it's certainly been an interesting couple of days for sure, with the circumstances surrounding John Torchetti not being with the team right now. Not completely clear. All the team is saying at the moment is that he's not available to coach in this game, and his situation is going to be reevaluated when it comes time for the team to make the trip to Quebec next week for that 3 games in 3 days trip starting in Victoriaville on Thursday. So it's certainly a challenging situation. One positive thing for the players, though, is that they know Ryan Salvis, they know Daryl Boyce. Those guys have tried to keep it as seamless as possible with Daryl Boyce, even though he's kind of running the show. If you wanted to put a temporary head coaching tag on Daryl Boyce for today, you could do that, but he's also running the defense. Usually you see the head coach change the forwards, but Daryl Boyce is running the defense. Ryan Salvis is working with the forwards as he has all season long. But it's certainly a different situation. You don't really see it happen that much, but the Wildcats are trying to adjust as best they can.